all, Jeanette here, and I'm out in the building where we stored our aloe veras over the winter. We moved them out here in about November, I think, and we've kept them out here over the winter with lights on and with heat on them. It was in a pretty well insulated building just to carry them over the winter so that we would be able to keep them going and get them going in the spring to be ready to sell at our market. So we're taking them out of here and we're putting them in the greenhouse today because it's that time and we're starting to heat the greenhouse, and I think we can accommodate them in there now by keeping them warm enough. And old guy's helping me, so we're going to get the process rolling. Thanks for joining us. So this is what it looks like in this building. It's mostly a dark building. We've put up these fluorescent light bulbs. We've set the aloes on the table, and we've basically left them here. We watered them, I think, 2 different times over the winter, and it's worked really good, I think.
That's the only finished ones in 6 inches. We got.
We're putting the aloes in the back of the van to take them over to the greenhouse. I think it's barely above freezing out here, but we're taking them anyway. Well, we've had a cold spell this time, so I'm going to have to carry some buckets of water from my house to get these aloes watered. Instead of carrying one heavy bucket of water, I get 2 buckets and fill them half full, and it's a lot easier to carry them that way. There's certainly no shortage of exercise around here. I reckon I better check the stove again. It probably needs some more wood. The stove burning nice and hot in here, so the greenhouse is pretty warm. See over here that our stuff in here is starting to come out. This is the marigolds, and that other stuff needs water today. Those are the cabbages. They got all spindly, so I think I'm going to scrap that one and go for some more because it's been so cold that we've kept this thing closed up a little longer than we should have for their sake. Since my hoses are froze up, I'm going to have to water the aloes in these trays. Just pour the water in here. Then I'll just set a tray of aloe in there and let it soak for a little bit. While those are soaking, I'm going to go get some more water from the hydrant and pour some over the top. I think they're really dry and they need some water from the top too, not just coming up from the bottom. I wanted to show you a tool that we use almost every day in the greenhouse. It's an Asian tool. It's not anything that we've been able to find a replica of in the United States. And it's called, in the Filipino language of Tagalog, it's called tabo, which I probably say it wrong, but that's the best I can do in my American accent. But it's spelled T-A-B-O. The T makes kind of a T-D sound put together, and then the O is kind of cut short, which I'm not very good at doing, but it's a ladle. They originally made them out of coconuts with a stick handle on them, The closest thing that we could come up with that would be anywhere close to what they would use here in our country is a gourd. Maybe they made a gourd out of a ladle out of a gourd, but we use it to dip down in the water like this, and then you can just water your plants from the top in the greenhouse. It works great, but they're a little bit hard to find, so whenever I've got one, I take care of it. I try not to let it out of my sight. When our potting soil gets dry, it's really hard for it to take up moisture again. And so it's not good to let your plants get overly dry, which some of these aloes got pretty dry in our storage place in there. But whenever that happens, it just sheds the water real quickly, and you have to water it over and over and over until it slowly starts, the little particles start taking up water again, instead of just letting it run through. These pots are really loaded up with aloes. Very soon on my list is going to be taking these pots and breaking them apart and just making the single aloes in the smaller 4-inch pots. Getting these aloes brought in here and all watered up and set up makes me feel like the season is really starting. It's spring almost, although we still have really a month to go till spring. But for me, spring is here because I have to start my work in the greenhouse, and when everything starts turning green, then it starts feeling like spring. So I feel like I've done a good job today. It's been kind of tough because I had to do a lot of running around, walking back and forth, carrying water and all that stuff. But I think it's worth it because I've got a lot of good aloes here. Very soon I'm going to be taking these 4-inch pots and switching them over into 6-inch pots, which is the way we sell them at the market. And many of them grew in that building over there with the lights above them all winter. So even though I started with smaller plants at the beginning of the year, they spent the winter growing for me, and so I'm going to have a lot of them all ready to go and be sold as soon as it's good enough to take them to the market. I have to be careful because I can't take them to the market whenever it's too cold. If they're used to the heat and you take them out into a cold situation, even if it's not below freezing, it affects them and makes some of their leaves drop off, and it's not good. So I have to be careful, make sure that I have a good weather to take them to the market. But as soon as I do, people will be looking for me, ready to buy their aloes for the year. Thanks for joining me, and I appreciate you coming and joining us on the Neals Homestead, and we'll see you next time.